next, you were discussing about regulations, export to EU, and all of these things which are driving a lot of these implementations. And give us a view around that and how you see that pretty much a must-do type of thing. So when we started the discussion, it was still felt that it is good to have, or it is something which somebody's aspiration is driving it. But what if you can't do business because you're not compliant towards using certain things, either on demonstrating sustainability or demonstrating the type of qualities that you require and things like that? So.
Thanks for the question, sir. I've been wanting to talk about this. So the way we look at things, right, over the last 6 years that we've been implementing, we have seen 3 different kinds of drivers why a consumer would agree to adopt the latest set of technologies. The simplest is an internal driver where the leadership team, right, because they have burned their fingers, because they are not getting the kind of data or analysis they want, because they know there's a problem, but they can't put a finger on it. They want to measure the problem. That's an internal driver. Another major internal driver is, I think Sir touched upon it, is the next generation taking over. And they since their childhood, they have been on social media and everything is the click of a button. So at somewhere they see a gap that why can't I do the same thing in my industrial implementation. Those are internal drivers. More interesting is internal drivers are great because if internal driving is happening, then you don't need external drivers. In many cases, external drivers, like Holkar sir mentioned, right? The largest external driver I have seen so far is many of our even micro and small manufacturers are now seeking and even getting offshore customers, right? So we are competing in EU, we are competing in Australia, we are certainly competing in Brazil and other emerging markets, right? And people who are like a couple of oceans away, they want to know that everything is going fine with their job orders. And the one way to do it is they call my customers and say, "Kaisa chal raha hai, when will I get it?" And we tell them something because we ourselves don't know. Second thing is they say, "Boss, give me a dashboard." So somebody in EU, in France, in Frankfurt, tells my customer who's making wire harnesses for, Volkswagen, that show me the status of my 10,000 orders in real time. And when that happens, automatically the market is biased towards manufacturers who have a technology adoption trend, right? Because they are going to get preferential treatment from their offshore customers. And we need to taste that thing once. If I'm a reluctant, consumer and I'm being forced by a customer to adopt technology, I have to do it once. And just because you start seeing it's a snowball effect, and then I drive myself. So the biggest external driver is my offshore customers are saying, this is what I want. If you have this technology, if you can show me a remote dashboard, then I'm more inclined to give you my business. And the third, again, a very major driver is regulatory driver. And one thing comes to mind is we want ISO certifications, we want IATF certifications. Having IATF is a pretty big deal for automotive and aeronautics manufacturers. Now, I've gone through all the 34, 35 pages of the IATF specification. Not once you'll see the name data science or IoT or AI or anything. But almost every third or fourth page, there is a reference, data should come from sensors on the machine. Data should be accessible over cloud so that I can audit it remotely. There should be analytics generated in real time. So without using the word IoT or Industry 4 or AI, there's a not implicit, there's an explicit recommendation that if you want to get IATF certified, these things should be adopted, right? And compared to the benefits we get by getting certified, the cost and the time of implementation kind of suddenly seems much more feasible. So that is my take. I do want to go back and touch upon one aspect that both Sujata ma'am and Nitin sir took over. So we spoke about ROI. And this is something we have struggled with a lot because continuous improvement initiatives, it's very hard to articulate an ROI, correct? Now, if I was a consultant, I would probably find a way to tell you that itna gram ROI milega, right? Kind of thing. But in fact, it's very hard because the improvements are happening not just because of one implementation, correct? I discussed this thing with somebody who is a serial entrepreneur who's on his 3rd major startup, sold first 2 startups to MNCs. He gave me a very good perspective. Then I start sharing it with my customers. Look at ROIs as a part of your KPIs. Now, I cannot give you a number on ROI, but you have a KPI to increase your operational efficiency. You have a KPI to increase productivity. You have a KPI to decrease your power footprint. right? So even if you can't have a dollar figure as an ROI, you can directly draw a line between AI or Industry 4 or IoT adoption to multiple KPIs that you have. And I think that was a big enlightening moment, aha moment for me, that somebody might be looking at ROI, but you can answer that and satisfy the question, linking that to KPIs. I thought we have a lot of discussion of ROI, so I'll bring this perspective as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhijit. It is definitely important for the industry to be aware of the regulations and what it really requires to compete in the market.